Hi everyone, welcome to Super Sexy Saturday. Today, instead of a card reading, I've decided to do a live Q&A session because the soulmate and twin flame questions have been pouring in nonstop. And so I want to give everyone an opportunity to ask their questions about like twin flames and soulmates and partnership and past life relationships. This is not a time for personal readings. This is about, the collective ideas and kind of what I see coming through at work. We'll talk about manifesting. We'll talk about, what a soulmate is, a bunch of stuff like that. So, hi Joe. I have some notes, and I know that my ideas are kind of going to get a lot of heat, and I'll explain why. So the first thing that I really want to explain is the concept of the one. A lot of people misunderstand twin flame and soulmate relationships as, the one person that they're meant to be with. And I'd like to offer a different perspective on the one. I don't believe in it. I don't believe that there's one person. I would be out of a job if that were true. Because that would imply that, finding partnership and manifesting partnerships with people is impossible. And I help people manifest partnerships all the time. So the thing with a soulmate or twin flame or past life relationship is just a type of connection. It's a type of relationship. It is not the relationship. It's not, the one that's destined for you. That's simply really limiting, especially when there are 7 billion people on the planet. The numbers don't add up. It doesn't make any sense. What if the one that you're supposed to be with, assuming that idea is true, is on the other side of the planet, or there's a huge age difference where you're not able to spend a full lifetime together, or if you don't speak the same language, or if, you're the one ends up passing away, at a pretty young age. Those things are really limiting. I'll talk about the false flame thing in a second. So, the whole thing with the idea of the one is nonsense. Let's blow it up, put it in a rose, get it out of your space. It's a ridiculous concept, and I don't agree with it, and it's very defeating for people. So I would just like to start off with, let's let go of the idea of the one, clean slate, and we're going to talk about twin flames and soulmates. So I get asked, is this person my twin flame? Is this person my soulmate? And in reality, I know a lot of you are going to hate me right now. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's a type of relationship. And just because you have a twin flame or soulmate relationship does not mean it's an indication of how long you'll be together, whether the relationship will be healthy, whether your lifestyles will be compatible, or any possibilities. Twin flames they have nothing to do with compatibility. Same thing for soulmates. In my work, I have a lot of people who ask about soulmates, and I'll say, well, that was a soulmate that you dealt with 5 years ago. That was a soulmate relationship and it didn't work out. But that doesn't mean that, you guys are meant to be together forever. That's ridiculous. But the lessons that were there, the fact that all of this karma actually carried over into this lifetime is what makes it a soulmate relationship, a past life relationship. It's about the lessons. It's about the information that gets carried over into this lifetime. And so a twin flame, some people say that it is a karmic relationship, and that this is a twin flame relationship is the last incarnation of a partnership or a relationship in, it's like the last lifetime they'll spend with each other. And typically it's super intense. It's really complicated. It's, one of my friends was telling me that one of the characteristics of twin flames is actually blocking each other. Like blocking each other on social media, blocking each other, via email or over the phone. It's just like a constant push away. Because the entire picture of everything in order for a twin flame or a soulmate relationship to actually come to fruition and last a lifetime, you have to get the timing right. You have to get the lifestyle right. You have to get all of these different pieces to cohesively match. So the reality is that twin flames are extremely rare. I think I've only seen one in years of reading. So they don't come up all that often, but people crave that type of connection. Yeah, so a lot of people have karmic relationships and have past life relationships, but it doesn't mean that that's the person you're meant to be with. And we have different people come into our lives for different lessons at different times. So there are different people for different times in our life. And you may have a soulmate that you meet really early on or really late in life, but it may not turn into partnership because of a lifestyle difference. I've seen that happen. If you want to be a stay-at-home mom and a soulmate that you have wants to go off and travel the world and be a nomad, those are really conflicting goals and aspirations in life. And more than likely, it's not going to work. It's not a bad thing, but soulmates are here to teach us things. Same thing with twin flames. Twin flames, honestly, I just look at it like a far more intense soulmate relationship, and it's kind of like a collision. So the idea of like a false flame, well, most people are false flames. Twin flames are very, very, very rare to begin with. And getting all of the pieces right at the same time is just very unlikely. And so I think that people actually mistakenly crave a soulmate when you've actually probably already experienced one at some point in your life. And it's regardless of gender, regardless of partnership, you can have a soulmate that you absolutely hate and detest, but really teaches you a lot of lessons that are life-changing. And you can have someone who's a perfect life partner for you that you're actually able to build with and create, a happy life with, that you have no karma with, that's completely a fresh slate and you're able to build with in this lifetime. So I think that people really romanticize the idea of twin flame soulmate, the one, but really it depends on what type of experience you want to have. So another question that I got was why do soulmates keep coming back into our lives? And the best explanation that I can really use for this is unresolved karma. So I've kind of had this experience too, where this person has so much to teach me and keeps coming back. I know that he is from a past life. I've seen him in a past life. I have memories of him from a past life. And the way that you can kind of identify is if you meet someone and it feels like you've just picked up where you've left off after 10 years, like you didn't skip a beat and you just know each other. And there's this type of recognition with soulmates and twin flames and past life relationships where it's like, I know this person, not a familiar face. Like the feeling that this person gives me is so familiar that I have to experience more of this person. whether there be friction or not. So that's one of the things that people look for. And so what the idea that I would like to propose to you, if you are trying to manifest a partner, is really figure out what your motives are and what is it that you're looking for. When you're thinking about, oh, I really want a soulmate, what does that mean? Are you talking about chemistry? Are you talking about a connection? Are you talking about sex? Are you talking about lifestyle compatibility? Because soulmates don't indicate those things. Soulmates are a type of relationship. A twin flame is a type of relationship. It is not an indicator of health. It is not an indicator of safety. It is not an indicator of a functional, lifelong relationship. And that's a really common misconception that I see in my practice all the time. Is a soulmate coming my way? Everyone wants the answer to that question. And my answer is, well, I don't know. Because you've probably already experienced a soulmate or more in your lifetime. Most people have. But it doesn't mean that they're a partner. So, yeah, past life relationship, ugh. So you just want to be really mindful when you are in the process of manifesting a partner. What is it that you want? And really what you want to do is work with an archetype. So is there an archetype of a partnership that you really are looking to cultivate and call in? Because when you're manifesting a partner, it doesn't necessarily mean that it'll be a soulmate. It could be someone that you have great chemistry with, that you love getting to know, that you have compatible lifestyles, that you are great communicators with each other. You can have all of those things and it not be a soulmate or twin flame relationship. And on the other hand, you can have a soulmate that you love dearly and who is the biggest pain in the ass you've ever had to deal with and who is just, not ready for you. That happens sometimes too. So I would just like to offer you the idea of not calling in a soulmate, because it is probably around your definition of what a soulmate or a twin flame is. I don't want a twin flame. I do not want to experience that in this lifetime. No thanks. No thanks. Too much, too heavy. I have enough on my plate. I'm good dealing with soulmates. That's fine with me. I don't care to have a twin flame. So we really need to be mindful about what we're calling in, because if you're only focused on calling in soulmates, you're going to manifest all types of soulmate relationships, and those could be the most brutal and abusive relationships ever. Because you can have a past life relationship that revolved around abuse and manifested into this lifetime. So it's about cleaning up your manifestations, cleaning up your idea of partnership, and putting really firm definitions and boundaries on what you want. What do you want? You can manifest the chemistry. You can manifest the deep connection and understanding with each other, the intimacy, the love language. You can get really specific on what you want. So it's, I really try to pull people away from the whole soulmate thing, because it's not what people think. And I see it all the time where I'll say, oh, that person's a soulmate, and they're like, no way. Like, no way is that. And I'm like, yeah, like you totally had a caretaker role. This is a really old connection that you guys, this is a dynamic that you've had for lifetimes, and that's why you're so scared of that person. It's actually because it's a soulmate relationship and they're here to teach you a lot. So let me check my notes. Drop questions if you have any, or if you want me to elaborate on anything, I'm happy to. Let's see. I think that pretty much covers what I wanted to say. I think the only thing I'd like to add is with the soulmate who keeps coming back, or, you know, someone who's coming and going, what that could be is someone who, like, your karma could carry over into the next lifetime. More than likely, that's something that I see. Or if there's someone who you're like, oh, this is a soulmate, I recognize this person, I still feel like there are lessons to be learned from them, but maybe not in this lifetime. Or maybe in this lifetime, but it will incarnate differently in the next lifetime. So really, what do you want in terms of partnership, romantic partnership, connection? Those are the things that are worth focusing on, opposed to this arbitrary idea of a twin flame and a soulmate. The only thing that information can clarify is why something feels so intense, why something feels so painful or familiar. It doesn't actually indicate anything else that you experience in partnership. It's just the type of relationship. That's about it. Is there any such thing as a love triangle in terms of like an affair? I mean, those definitely exist. Like, he loves her, but this other chick loves him. Stuff like that. You know, that happens all the time. You know, multiple souls can, or spirits can incarnate and, you know, kind of carry over the same dynamic into multiple lifetimes. So it can be very, very complicated. But is that what you mean, Bianca, about that? Okay, the next question. I've mentioned colors and relationships, partnerships. She's talking about when I read. How do you read that, and what did those colors mean? Okay, so when I do a reading with you and we talk about, because I talk in colors, I'm like, oh, this is the color of this situation or person or whatever. So there are I read a lot of stuff. I'm not going to get into the how, because that's very processy. That's something that, like, I have to sit down and teach people, which I have launched a class specifically for teaching people how to use their intuition in that way. So I have just, like, started the process of teaching other people how to do that. But the colors, they don't have specific definitions. So people with their own intuition can actually see different colors. I have one friend who I actually would read with, and we learned together. And she reads in gem tones only, where I'm like bubblegum pink, royal purple, spring green. You know, there's all these super vibrant colors, which is how I read. That's how my intuition shows me what's going on with spirits and earth bodies and chakras. And hers are very earthy, like sapphire blue, emerald green, a deep red, earthy, you know, tans and browns. That's her own intuition. So it's different for everybody. My colors are super vibrant. Hers are like, you know, gem tone color, very earthy, which totally fits with who she is. So the colors can mean different things. I've had, you know, even though there's a general vibe to the colors that I see, it really is individual to who I'm reading, what type of information I'm getting. And I could get spring green for, you know, 4 or 5 different people, but how I interpret that spring green varies. So it might, you know, some common ones, the way my intuition has shown me, or divine source has shown me, is like, you know, very high energy. Sometimes it's creation and birthing ideas. Sometimes it's really excited about new projects. Sometimes it's really expansive and you've cleaned out a lot of the old stuff. So there's a million ways that your intuition can be shown things. But most of the time, if I say the situation or the communication space, because that's usually how I read relationships, is what's going on energetically between the two spirits. And that's what I'm reading. So the communication space, that's the give and take between you two. Because that gives me information, you know, is there aggression there? Is it clear and healthy and grounded? Is it toxic? Is it abusive? Is there a weird power dynamic going on? That's really where your connection is. And so I'm able to get a lot of information just by looking at the communication space between spirits. That's how I read people who have passed away with their loved ones. That's how I read. I do couples counseling and all of that stuff. So communication space is big. Okay. All right, does anyone else have any more questions? Did you enjoy this? Oops, sorry. I think I've covered everything, you know. I'm sorry to disappoint. I know everyone wants me to tell them, "Oh, there's the one for you." And I understand that that's a really nice idea and that would provide a lot of comfort, but it's also very limiting. So I just would like to open you guys up to the possibility of having, you know, multiple partnerships and healthy relationships within any given lifetime, and being able to manifest those partnerships, you know, taking more of a hopeful approach rather than this dogmatic, you know, this or that, black or white. Okay, and let me know if you want me to do Super Sexy Saturday anymore. I can do tarot readings for you guys, or answer more questions, or deep dive into something. Have I had ringing on my ears? So the ringing in the ears, I don't actually have an energetic explanation for that. I only know the neurological explanation for that, which is that one of the hairs, because the hairs inside of your ear are how it picks up the vibration and the sound waves and communicates it to your eardrum. And so when one of those is sticking up, it causes ringing in the ear. So that's the only explanation that I know for that. Have I ever encountered angry spirits? Oh yes, I read angry spirits all the time. Tantrumy spirits, frustrated spirits. Sometimes I'll, you know, do a reading for someone who has passed away, and, you know, they're very angry or in the process of transitioning into the next life. And so if they haven't resolved all of their agreements in their earth body, they'll have to push it forward into the process. And usually what I do is I just dispatch angels to go support them during that transition. Are you talking about angry spirits as in like ghost encounters where like someone is experiencing scratches on the body or anything like that? Orbs. Okay, so yeah. You're talking about like yeah, I've seen orbs all the time, even in video cameras. It's like, oh, look, there's a little baby being. Not literally right now, but yeah, those are out there. We see those sometimes. Stephanie wants a not super Saturday, like a Super Sexy Saturday, or I can do one about past life relationships specifically. And Joe, the orbs are generally just spirits. Just little, you know, sometimes if I have a woman who doesn't want to get pregnant, sometimes I'll see baby beings like ready that are around her. And so I have to say like, okay, you know, just tell the baby beings, no, thank you. I'm not looking for that at this time. Thank you so much. So a lot of the time when I see orbs, or when I'm doing a reading, I'll see baby spirits. That's what that looks like to me. But generally it's just extra energy that's kind of hanging out. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, but that usually comes up during conversations about fertility and, you know, birth and, you know, people trying to get pregnant, because that's a super complex. Okay, so past loved ones. I generally, you know, I don't see orbs that often. It's more like you encounter orbs when you're in a hot spot. So if you're in a high activity area, so my mom lives on what was once a red light district, and there were a lot of deaths in that area. And so you can take a photo and there's orbs all over the place because it's so concentrated and there's so much energy. Yeah, so there's that. And then ghosts. Maybe I should do a special on ghosts or something, since I'm getting a lot of, like, you know, talking about orbs and like temperature changes. I mean, if any of you have ever used dowsing rods, you can actually see the energetic field with dowsing rods. It's a trip. I've done that before. Oh, you're seeing orbs all the time. Is that what you're saying? Yeah. So it's, I don't think that there are any, it's just extra energy. I don't think it's anything to really be afraid of or be scared of. It's just, you know, it's just something that is hanging out in the astral. What I would say though is, you know, be mindful of how much chi you're bringing in. So I wouldn't try to like actively seek out, because that can be really hard on the retinas. Okay, and then ghosts that are angry, really it's just spirits who have unresolved karma, unresolved issues, relationships that you know, kind of they haven't fully converted. And they can hang out for years. That's why you see it all the time where there's hotels in different places where they're like, there's this one spirit. And it's simply because the soul has actually fragmented and is staying on the planet and staying in its home, and it doesn't actually want to collect itself. So that's part of when I do space clearings and like parasitic clearings with any like energy of any dark source. A lot of it is like bringing the spirit wholly together, like fully completing it, because a lot of the time it's just a fragmented piece. Or if there was a really brutal you know, murder or event that happened that was really traumatic, the damaged part of the spirit, the traumatized part of the spirit will actually plant itself there. And so that's why you can see a lot of hotels and stuff that have a lot of history and really gruesome histories. They have a lot of fragmented souls that are just sticking around, but it's not the whole person. It's a fragment. So they can still go on, but it is splintered off. Oh, yeah. Yeah, so that's a very different topic. Anyway, I hope that you all, I'll do this again because we're going down a very different road. Now we're talking about ghosts and spirits and stuff. So I hope that answers a lot of your questions. Again, I'm always taking questions. I love talking with everyone, so please send them and I'll answer them in another video like this. Okay, I hope you have an awesome weekend and I'll see you next time.